Hello everyone and welcome to the Distinct Mastering YouTube channel. My name is Freddie. Today we're going to be talking about why using multiple compressors might be better than using one. Wondering why? Let's get into the video and check it out. Okay, so using multiple compressors could be beneficial to your sound because you could use one and then a second in series to say the first one control the heavy peaks and then the second one control the dynamics. So if, say for example on the first one you could have a very fast attack and a fast release, and on the second one a much slower attack and a more gradual or slower release, which is just going to help control the overall balance and the overall dynamics, whereas this one is going to help tame major peaks and react very quickly. So you can get this kind of pushing and pulling feeling with using multiple compressors that you can't normally get otherwise. You do need to be very careful. You might be using multiple stage compression and may not even be realizing it. For example, if you're using a compressor on your kick drum and then you use a compressor on your drum bus, you've actually used multi-stage compression, multiple compressors, just in a different way. If you've ever done parallel compression, maybe you've used compression on your drums and then you've had a parallel compressor that's running and you have the mix knob down 50. That's a stage of multiple compression as well. Another tactic you could do is have one, say, bus sent to two faders and then have two different compressors on those faders doing two different things. That would be another series of parallel compression where you're using multiple compressors. So you can do this in series, you can do this in parallel, you can do this in any combination. Today I made a track. It took me about an hour to make this. It's nothing special. I just wanted to make something for the video and incorporate a bunch of these tactics so I could show you how you can use these to benefit your music productions. Okay, here's the track. Today I'm going to play this for you. It's very basic. It's just a theme I made. If you're feeling it, drop me a comment down below and let me know if I should finish this one up.
You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word right. You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right.
That's the gist of it. Like I said, it took me about an hour to really whip this into shape. And normally I wouldn't use a vocal like that, but I wanted to use a vocal to show you multi-stage compression with vocals. So I just pulled something off Splice that kind of worked. And I'm going to be going through a lot of compressors today, so I want to warn you, I'm going to leave you links to older videos about some of these compressors. I'm not going to teach you how to use these compressors today, but if you want to know how to use these compressors, make sure you go check those other links out. Side note, the bass line in this, the lower bass tone in this track that I just made, is from my new sample pack on my record label, NOS Recordings. You can get it at the No One Safe online shop. Link down below. There's 66 Moog Tech House bass lines available for you. Go check that out. You can also get 10 of them for free. In the other link down below, we're giving away 10 bass lines for free so you can get a preview of the pack. Don't miss out. Okay, the first place I used multiple compressors was on the Moog bass. And I'm gonna go ahead and mute this Prophet one. So that's the Moog sample from the sample pack. I added this layer here. Just to give it some cut through the mix. It didn't need it, but what I did is I filtered out a ton of the top end of that bass line. And so I'm gonna take this back down. I'm gonna take some of this off. And just on this bass line, we're gonna listen to this bass line. So this is what it sounds like. It doesn't have, I had to lower the volume.
You know I don't play right.
Let's turn off these vocals for now. Just loop this. So here, I added this EQ to clean it up, but we're talking about multi-stage compression. So the first compressor that I used was this DBX 160. I have a video on this, I'll leave you a link down below. One of my favorites for bass. The next compressor that I put in line with that, and mind you, both of these are bypassed right now, is the Teletronics leveling amplifier, the model LA2A, the silver one. Another one of my favorites for bass, I have an old series on this collection by UAD. Link down below to those videos. You're going to want to probably pick up some of these compressors if you don't own them. If you have UAD, you can find other recreations on other plugin websites. You know, you don't have to get UAD. And if you're lucky to have the hardware, all the more power to you. So first of all, this first compressor, it doesn't have attack and release controls. You only have a threshold compression, but I like how the 160 gives me some groove. But normally, like I said, you would probably want to control the attack and then the release first. Now let me show you what it's doing. So you can see the lights. It is controlling the peaks. Let's turn it off. It's helping it smash a little bit into the bass, into the kick drum, I mean. It's just fixating the bass and giving it a little bit more groove. That is one thing I like about this compressor. But then it's not actually overall tonally controlling the dynamics of the whole sound. It's just kind of hitting those transients the way I have it set. Let me show you if I push this harder. This is off, and then as I go, now I'm just smashing it. Off, on. So I kind of went right around there. Here's off. You can really hear that groove being enhanced. Now let's put the LA Teletronics in line in series. That's a lot of peak reduction. Turn this down. I like to level match. So this is without it. And that's without both of them. Drastically different. There's my saturation. And then my EQ. And so you see this one at the top is just tapping along those transients. And this one is controlling a more gradual leveling out the sound. I wouldn't be able to get this with one compressor. That's the point. You know, I would be working one compressor too hard. It'd be smashing the transient and then controlling the dynamics in a weird way. With this push and pull pattern that I'm doing with the two compressors, I'm quickly snapping that transient, and then I'm getting a cleaner signal with less spikes to then send through the leveling amplifier, which is then giving me an overall tone that I can then gain up a little bit hotter. Or, you know, I like to gain stage. I have a video on gain staging, leave you a link down below. But that's the concept of using multiple compressors in series. Now, adding back my Prophet stab, this is what we have. So yeah. Okay, the next place I want to talk about using multiple compressors, and this is very common, is to use it on vocals. Vocals always need that extra sparkle and extra love, extra tender care. So why not spend a little more time using two compressors versus one? Let me show you what I did. I took the left side only because it had some panning type effects, auto pan or something going on. I just wanted one signal. Now this is a common technique right here to use on vocals, is to use an 1176 in conjunction with an LA2A. I have an old series on the 1176 collection. Leave you a link down below by UAD. Another one of my favorites. I mean, I'm pulling out all my favorite compressors here. You know, I occasionally will use the Fab Filter or the Ableton stock stuff, but I'm a big fan of some of these hardware recreations. They just sound great. Okay, so let's hear what this sounds like before the compressor.
You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word right.
Now putting the compressor on.
You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word right.
So what it did is like I said, it tamed those peaks and it gives a more overall cohesive sound, which then allows the LA2A to work better because it doesn't have to deal with these heavy spikes. It can just kind of level out the dynamics and even things out for you as it's intended to do. So moving into the Teletronics LA2A, and I'm barely hitting it. Let's hit a little bit more peak reduction. So turning it off, turning it on. You can really hear that vocal just kind of boop, sat on top of that mix without even adjusting any volume, essentially. I mean, I have volume on these units, but I'm just really taming those peaks, which allows me to bring the whole track up. But I'm doing it in a way to where I'm taming the peaks first and then controlling dynamics with 2 compressors in series. And this is why using multiple compressors can be better than using one. You don't have to let the one work as hard, and you can get this push-pull factor that I spoke about in the beginning of the video that you just can't get when using one compressor. Getting into another method of using multiple compressors, you don't actually have to have them in series one after another. You could have a compressor that's, say, in parallel. So for example, in this track, I muted everything except the kick drum. And on the kick drum, I have an SSL compressor. Another one of my favorite compressors, the SSL UAD version. I also then have this send happening right here where it's being sent to this track and this kick side chain where I have an EQ and another compressor. Now I originally set it up without the EQ and we're going to turn off the compressor. Notice that I have this on pre-fader send. You could have it on post-fader send, but then when I send this, I'm going to get the signal from the SSL being sent to that parallel, and that's not what I want. I want 2 independent parallel lines of compression. So I have the track with the UAD SSL. I'm going to go ahead and play this for you. And I'm going to turn it off. You can see it's just giving a little more thump, a little more punch. Normally I'd be doing this in context with the mix, but I want to show you what these are doing. I'm going to get rid of these. I don't need these anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn everything on so you can hear it.
You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word right.
So that right there is without. Let's do that again without.
You know I don't play.
I'm going to turn off the vocals. I want you to be able to hear the kick drum clean. Okay, let's turn it on. Really does help. Now, here's what I then came up with, and I kind of just came up with this on the fly. The send is not something that I often do with a kick drum, but I have done it before. But one thing I did different is I added an EQ in line. But first what I did is I sent this API 2500, another one of my favorites. I'm using all my favorites today. I pushed this send all the way up to 100%, mix 100%. As you see with this one, if I compare the two, I've got a slow attack on the SSL with a medium release, and here I've got a fast attack with a slow release. So they're actually pretty opposite from each other. And what you're getting now it was actually playing the whole time, so I apologize. I forgot to turn the send off before hitting record on this video. So let me turn off the SSL. This is the kick drum by itself without the compression stages. Adding the SSL. And then I'm going to go ahead and boost this up. And there's at 0 volume. Let's mute this. So it's really, at full volume, it's adding a lot of click. I don't want that much, so you can really just mix this in. It's the beauty of parallel. Something like that. And there's before. It's a lot more bland. It doesn't take as much of the frequency spectrum. I'm really enhancing the clickiness and the transient of that kick drum, but I'm shaping it in a way that's just adding and blending into what's already there. The kick already has body, but it's kind of lacking that harsh, that transient to cut through that low Moog bass. So that's another way you can use multiple compressors. Like I said, you don't have to use them in series. You can use them in parallel. Really cool tactic. Obviously, if you've ever used parallel compression or the New York style compression trick on your drum bus, you're familiar with parallel. But get creative. Now, check this out. Then what I did was I got a little further creative with this. I then took out all the low end before it hit this compressor. I'm going to play it for you so you can hear it again. I'm going to play it before. That's after. I want you to pay attention to this meter too when I do that. Look at it before. It's hitting up to -7. When I turn this EQ on, now it's only hitting to -3. So you can see that that low end, because of that peak that you're looking at right down there in the corner, is taking up all that headroom. Just by cutting that out, now I've kind of cleaned up and had the compressor work less as hard to get even better result. Very, very, very interesting. So you want to think about what you're feeding your compressors to. I hope you found this video helpful. My name is Freddie from Distinct Mastering. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and the bell notification will keep you up to date. If you want to check out the Moog bassline pack that I just created for my label NOS Recordings, the link is down below. You can get 10 free basslines if you want the free pack, or you can check out the paid version. I highly recommend the paid version. It's got 66 basslines all mapped out into different keys at 125 BPM, some unprocessed versions and processed versions. Now, if you have any questions on this video, please do leave me a comment down below, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.